Evening all. Welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you all in the chat. So many people here already. I know I'm very pink today. I do apologize for the overwhelming pinkness, but unfortunately, my TV has failed over on my left-hand side, which normally provides some bright white light, and it's not working right now. So welcome to the chat, everyone, to the pink chat, so to speak. Welcome, Adam. Lovely to see you, and welcome to your new status as an ArcisFX fan. Appreciate that very much, Adam. And if you'd like to join this channel, folks, there's a button below this video that says join, and you can join Adam and become a member of this community and get all the benefits for $1 a month. Good day, Gigawatt. Nice to see you. Gigawatt has just won a $25,000 trading account at Ola Prime, a challenge account. And he also happens to be part of our private group over at ArcisFX. So well done to you, Gigawatt. And good luck with that trading account. It's a big one, $25,000. Good day, Lucas. Everything's great, Lucas. Thank you very much for asking. Emily Trading, nice to see you. Laughing at Gigawatt and all. Happy Thursday. Hello, James, says Emily. Hello to you too. And Dunwatt, good day to you. And Robson Jr., Amit, J. Lee, Steve M1N1. That is a good shirt. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, mate. All in pink. It's actually a golf shirt, and it's made out of synthetic materials, which is not the best thing, but there you go. Hello, Pink James. All right, folks, we're going to start in 3 minutes' time. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to put up, now's your chance. And if I spot your question before we start the live stream, I'll answer your question first. So now's your chance to get your questions in before I start on my monologue. And once again, please excuse my hoarse throat, but I'm getting over it slowly and I'll be fine next week. Good morning, Roby. Lovely to see you. It's a pleasure, Roby. A pleasure for the video. Amit and Gunyet, thank you. Nice to see you. Tanil, Alex J. Novotko. And hello, I'm Andrew, he says. Hello, Andrew. And Kogi, nice to see you, Kogi, again. We saw you and we had a nice chat last time. Congrats to the winner, says Kogi. All right, so I think I'm going to start in a couple of minutes' time, and maybe I'll just edge into it with some less interesting bits and pieces. But of course, there's always going to someone that's going to ask me to circle back. That's okay. Maybe we'll have to do that. I think I'll give it 1 more minute. Actually, let's just wait until everyone's in. Let's be fair. So it's Thursday afternoon, folks, and been a big trading week. As you can see, all the markets are moving up, and I've just come out of the Ola Prime live stream where Gigawatt won an account, and we were talking about the NASDAQ and the S&P, all bullish, moving up high, fast, furious, everything moving with great fervor, vigor, and a slight amount of over-enthusiastic fervor, I think. I'll tell you about my positions now. But for those who are interested, at the outset, I've hedged my longs that you knew about from yesterday's video. I've hedged them at the top here on both the NASDAQ and the S&P. But I'll talk about that in more detail once we get going. And comments on copper. Certainly we'll look at copper. And hello from Portugal. I think the best way to do this is by starting off with copper straight away. And I'll get into copper, and then I probably might just answer questions today, but let's talk about copper. So, Gunya, Sunayet. I don't know how to say it, but I'm going to call you Sunny. How's that? Sunny? If you remember, we were long on copper moving up into this rally, and I'm not sure if you're part of my private group, but you may be. And people use different names here on YouTube compared to my private group, as we know, according to one person who won today. So if you have been following, you'll know that we bought here at these 2 green arrows and we got out at the top there. And I actually took the chance to sell at the top there, thinking that this was overextended. We were way through the top Bollinger Band and right above this 5.9, heading into 6. And leading up into the tariff war on copper, we actually managed to get short. And so we got long, we got short, and we got out at the bottom. We've got long again now. Admittedly, not much of a bounce. I've got 2 long tranches here, one at the 200 period moving average and one at this bottom trend line. Let's zoom out. I'll show you what that line is formed by and my overall idea on copper. This is the weekly chart. Obviously, in an uptrend, with a big spike up through that level. And that was really reaching up into very, very, very high levels. And we'd actually already closed at a record weekly high on copper. It's clearly a bullish move, and we're moving within broadly a sort of a channel, although we're way outside it on occasion. We're back inside the channel now. We got down to the channel center line and this very sort of nascent rising trend line after having spiked down through it a wee bit on the previous occasion, the previous dip. But we've got back down to that trend line now. I'm just going to redraw this trend line a little bit like that. And then zoom in. So we got back to the trend line and this orange horizontal line, the point of control, the most highly traded zone. And we went long. This is a weekly chart. We went long last week, or was it early this week? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Let's go back to the day chart. And we got long on Thursday last week. Yeah, so Thursday last week and Wednesday last week. One position there, one position there. Now, you might say, well, how can you hold a position from $4.60, our first initial $4.55, our initial tranche, and then hold it all the way down to $4.31? If you're a day trader, that might look like an enormous difference, a big gap. It is a big gap, and it's exacerbated by the fact that copper is so cheap. So these small moves in terms of cents are quite large. So what that means is that are we going to get a bounce here or not? Obviously, we've had an incredible sell-off. Copper's in demand. I believe we're in a bull trend. We've dropped back down to the trend line, and we've dropped back down to the broader channel center line. That's this dotted line and the point of control. Let me remind you, going back to the weekly chart, let's have a look at this channel like that. So that dotted line running up the center of the channel is where we drop to. That's a channel center line, and you can see, maybe not perfectly on this chart, but on most charts, the channel center line will form a point of control. As you can see, it's happened here, and it becomes a support and a resistance zone. So that's what's happening at the moment. And if you can all hear me or can't hear me, let me know. I'm just trying to read the comments and the chats at the same time. I do these live streams solo for the most part, unlike many of these folks who've got teams of operators to switch screens and switch backgrounds and switch things around. I have to do it all myself. So sometimes I'm a bit caught up in the moment and I might forget things. But this is the weekly chart. And yeah, so there's the 200 period moving average as well, the purple line underneath us, and also the 100 period moving average, the line that we bounced off. So I think that we've got a good chance of this bouncing up. I think it's going to take some time. We probably leapt in a little prematurely. Most of the time, these very strong moves down to support will have to consolidate, gather strength, build up some volume and liquidity at those levels, and it takes time. So it's often not a good idea to get in on the initial move down to that support level like we did, but sometimes, not very often, but sometimes you get this sort of move like we saw on the way down, a massive, precipitous move in this event, which in one day moved us all the way down from 576 down to 454. So that can happen, and sometimes in the reverse direction too. We've been seeing a lot on the stock markets, these dramatic V-shaped recoveries all over the markets, and it wouldn't be surprising if copper did something similar. As it turns out, it didn't. But I think this is a pretty key level. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to poke down through there like we've done once before already over there. Drinking my Red Bull. There's a big point of control, big volume, just below where we're currently trading, and we're holding above that line. If we should drop into this gap, I suppose we may have to retest this trend line, maybe even create a flat bottom underneath it. And then instead of having a parallel bottom channel to the top, we might have a horizontal eventually. And I'll draw that across the bottom here for you. So something like that. Let's make it a big purple line, and let's make it thick. So that horizontal line right there might be actually the place that copper has to revisit before bouncing, either where we are currently trading, which is where I've chosen my initial tranche. We don't have a full size on this. I've got space to add more. We've got two positions, one from slightly above us, one slightly below us. So if we do drop down to the purple line, I'll simply add some more size onto this and hope for a move up. I do hope we hold this trend line because it is a trend line. We are moving up. We don't really want to mess around with this pattern too much. It's messy enough as it is to trade in general copper. And so it'd be really nice, be really kind of copper just to hold this trend line for us and start moving up. So kind of that's my idea on copper in answer to your question. I hope you found that useful. What's nice about these headphones is that I can switch around without having the mic in front of me, and I can lean in this direction, although you may not be able to see me when I do that. You can still hear me perfectly well with these funny wireless microphones. Good day, Ole from Germany. NatGas results, strat, etc. I think we're going to move on to energies, and I'll come back to the questions because some things are on the move. I'm going to scan through the charts very quickly and give you a broad view of what's going on, starting with currencies. I'd encourage you to go and look at the Ola Prime show that I've just done. Just come out of that right now. We spent an hour there talking about currencies, crypto, gold, oil, all sorts of things. So go and check that out. Go and rewind and check that out. The Ola Prime um, morning show. I can't remember what it's called. Market Start or something. Anyway, it's the first show in the morning. So we talked about all of this stuff, and we talked about currencies as well. And my general prognosis is that the dollar is going to move down another 3 to 5%, in line with what I've been saying all along. In other words, we got to retest that Fibonacci and the bottom of that megaphone on the dollar index. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go and have a look at the last live stream or yesterday's recorded video. I describe all of that in there. So my idea is that the euro and the pound are moving up, the dollar yen moving down, and the yen crosses moving down alongside those. So as a result of that, I don't have a position on the euro, but I do have longs on the pound and shorts on the dollar yen, so which we put on this morning. The pounds on the longs on the pound I've had on for quite a while. We've now moved into some profit. That's a smaller tranche at the top there, two larger tranches down at the bottom here. These are both in about 60, 70 pips of profit. That one's about 70 pips out of profit, but that's a smaller position than these two. So we are moving into some profit on the pound, and in line with my idea on the dollar index, I think we could move up another 3 to 5% on the pound. So that means 300 to 500 pips. We're trading at currently, just want to reset the price scale here. We're trading currently at precisely on the nose 3,412 on the pound. So add another 500, 4, 5, 600 pips on that, and you get sort of my target. So that would take us up to about 1.4 on the pound, and I'll show you where that is in relationship to this entire chart. All right, so 1.4 is here, essentially at the top of this last spike high. Now, overall on the pound, we've actually got a trend. Now, let's have a look at this. This is the weekly chart on the pound, and you can see overall, most currencies against the dollar have been moving down over a couple of decades, at least a decade and a half. Dollar has been strengthening, which is a reversal of what was going on 20 years ago or 30 years ago, really, when I started trading. The dollar was weakening and weakening and weakening, and the fears that were driving the dollar down at that point, 20, 30 years ago, were the twin deficits, which still exist, and in fact, they're much larger. That fear seems to have dissipated until now. The dollar is moving down a bit, but it's not catastrophic. We're still very close to 100 on the dollar index, which is parity. The dollar has dropped, but only really back to the average sort of zone, slightly below. So there's room for the dollar to move down further, and I think there's room for the pound and the euro to move up higher. If you look at this long-term picture on the pound, you can see we've got a very long-term downtrend that we've now broken out of. We retested it, we broke out of it, retested it quite severely, quite a sharp retest, all the way down to that order block, and we've bounced up back up through that top now. There's a horizontal purple line that we're holding above, or trying to get through. We were holding above, trying to get back above it right now. This is a weekly chart, remember, and our orders are clustered around the current price level. If we can hold above the swing high at 1.3430, which we're approaching and trying to get through right now, we should see a move up to that previous high at 1.3785, and then all the way to the top of this order block at 1.3920, and probably the big round at 1.4, possibly even slightly higher. So my general idea on the pound, the euro, the yen, the CAD, the Aussie, the New Zealand dollar, the NOK, and any other of the other 27 currency pairs that you can name off the top of your head, I think they're all moving up against the dollar. The dollar is moving down. So we're positioned long on the pound, but no position on the euro just yet, looking to get into that. But we are long on the pound. And just this morning, I went short on the dollar yen. And we have this channel, and I think that we'll do this sort of thing. I want to neaten this channel up for you and give it some lines like that, and maybe make the background a little bit less jarring. All right, so we have this channel that we're trading in. We tried to get up the top, failed to reach the top, failed even to reach that swing high, and moved down very dramatically. This is a day chart, this big day channel is very evident. We're above all these moving averages and order blocks, but look what happened. We tried to get up to the top of the channel, didn't even get there, failed at the 200 moving average, that's this purple line, and had a massive bearish engulfing, not only bearish engulfing, but also a dark cloud cover candle. Made a higher high and a much, much lower low. This is a big bearish reversal. We're now below the channel center line. I've got a hypothetical path drawn out here, something like this. It's a messy old instrument. All of the yen crosses are because of manipulation and the way that the Japanese and the Americans are heavily involved in each other in the bond market and so on. And so this is quite a difficult currency to trade. Very manipulated, not only by banks and people, but by governments too. Now, what I think is going on here is that we've got this crowning pattern. A crown is not like a head and shoulders. It's a little bit like a head and shoulders, but what a crown normally does is has 5 peaks rather than 3. We get a sort of left-hand shoulder, the crown with 3 tops, and then the right-hand shoulder. So it's more like a king's crown or a queen's crown than the head and shoulders, but it's the same idea. We have a neckline of sorts that we've got to get through. I think we'll probably not get through there on the first attempt. Maybe it bounce all the way back up to like where we are right now, possibly. It's a messy instrument to trade, but once we get going, and if we get going, we could see some very dramatic moves like we often see on these unwinding, carry downward, unwind trade moves. We haven't seen one for a while, so maybe we're due one of those soon. And maybe my path here is a little bit conservative, and we'll see something a little bit more vigorous and more exciting, something like this, maybe like that, and then, just suddenly down. And that's not out of the question either. And avoiding all of this jiggering up and down, we could just do something like we've seen many times before. So that's my idea on the dollar yen, and overall on the dollar. Dollar down, everything else up is my play currently. And we see that it's working out. So everything's up. All the other currencies, the majors against the dollar. The stock markets indices are up, not only in America, but around the world. We've seen gold and silver rallying. We've seen Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum rallying. We've seen natural gas rallying, oil coming down. And we've seen uranium, UEC, the other metals rallying. And finally, we've also seen, there's a black chart. Let's quickly change this one up. This is from my Ola stream earlier. Let's go to white. I don't know. Oh, that's a Fibonacci level there. Okay, so what I was trying to do is to get, where was I trying to get? Oh, yes. I can't remember now. Why was I heading in this direction? Yeah. So the only thing we haven't seen actually rallying is commodities, although we may have seen a turnaround in commodities too. Now, these are the corn and wheat charts, the ones that have been languishing down at these lows. This is the wheat chart with this descending falling wedge, and, well, 2 really. We've got a sharper falling wedge. We could redraw that bottom line. We could draw it in 2 different ways. We're holding the top one so far, and yesterday we got a big bounce after the previous day's reversal doji candle. So we got long yesterday, right at the bottom there. We have another long tranche from there. That one, I think we took profit on. I think it's just those 2 that remain. So pretty good. So even commodities getting a bit of a bounce as well, and corn too, as the dollar starts to move lower. Not much of a bounce on corn, but something at least. Spike low, we got long at the bottom there yesterday, and it's moving up a wee bit today. So yeah, everything's moving up. And the dollar, I think, and once again, folks, don't bet your bottom dollar on what I'm saying to you. I'm often wrong. I don't want you to be misled and to believe that or think that I know everything about every market and that I'm always right. I'm often wrong, I promise you. Like 30% of the time, I'm wrong, completely wrong. And if you get me on a wrong call and you bet everything on it, thinking that Just because I said it, it could be right, or it's probably right. Don't do that. The other thing I was looking at actually was lithium, and even lithium, which is also a metal on the rise. We're long on lithium right from the bottom there. I don't know how we timed that so perfectly, but we did. We literally bought, not quite the bottom, the next day went a wee bit lower, but just literally a fraction. So we're long at the bottom, 3 gap days up so far on lithium, including today. So looking fantastic. So there we go. Now, getting back to natural gas, we've got the natural gas storage report coming in shortly. And, or is it in already? It may already be in. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a look. I'm sure someone's already put it up in the chat as I'm scrolling, but I'm going to do it anyway just to make sure. All right, jobs, by the way, came in pretty normal. Nothing, no great shakes there, despite the fact that the jobs lady, the statistician, was fired. Natural gas change in 12 minutes. So we'll be online when the gas storage report comes out, which is exciting stuff. It's the first time we've been online, I think, when this has happened. So here we go. This is our position. We're waiting the storage report in 12 minutes, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if it's going to be bullish or bearish, and I don't know if it is bullish or bearish, how that will affect the market or how it will be perceived. But we got long at the bottom, briefly hedged there when we dipped back down through these levels, failed at the 20-period moving average, and then when we broke through and closed above the 20, retraced back to the 20, I got long again. So really simple play. So there's the breakout through the 20 and that little trend line, pull back to there, and we got long. So we're long from, I don't know, 303, and we have a long from 299. We have a short position from around about this level here, which was the hedge position, which remains in place, and I've added a new long position on here. So we're just waiting for this to move up. With a bit of luck, natural gas will move up after today's report, and the overall idea on natural gas is really, really simple. If we can hold this low that we've just reached, just around $2.90, if we can hold that level and not close beneath there, I think we go to $4 and maybe even $5. If we do close beneath that level that we've just reached down at the bottom here, let's get a precise number on it. And the level is 289, maybe it's 288.72 or something like that. But let's call it 289, and it's really simple. If we close beneath 289 on any occasion in the next number of days, I think we're going down to 2.5 or 2.2. If we don't do that and we manage to hold above this level, we're doing pretty well so far, and we're long, so we're in the right direction, but we are slumping off a bit ahead of the storage report. So, and look where we are. We're right at this point of control, big volume on the right here. Obviously, if you look to the left, you can see why. All that volume is produced by these lows and highs, trading in this very narrow band. So a bit of work to get through here, but if we do that and get through this top, there's fairly plain sailing all the way up to $3.60, where this next order block is, and there's a gap to fill on the left-hand side. So I think that would be the next stop. There is a little bit of resistance at 325, a little bit there, sort of consolidation zone, but not very much. And you can see if we can get over this hump right now, the storage report can just push us over onto the other side of this red order block and the 100-period moving average, this gray line, and then the 200, and then through that gap, first the bottom, then the top, then we'll reach the underside of this order block at $3.50 something, thereabouts. Let's call it 350, the halfway mark to 375. And then 375 is the big level that natural gas always or very often respects. So I think that's where we are. We've got a few minutes to go, 9 minutes now before the storage report, and we will be here when it comes out, which is pretty exciting. And it will be the first time, I think, that I've been online when it comes out. Now, while we're on this page and waiting for that report, let's look at crude oil and WTI, the one that I trade. It doesn't really matter whether you trade WTI, Brent crude, they behave in a pretty similar fashion. But I prefer WTI. I think it's more technical, but I have both charts on my screen. So I compare the WTI and the Brent crude charts together, and I can, if they both agree with each other, I have a better opinion of the trade that I'm taking. If they're in conflict, if there's something that's off on one of the charts, it may dissuade me. So we remain short on WTI oil, and we've now broken down with a bit of a maybe as a day trader, it could have been a bit of a scary day. For me, it was perfect. We just moved up. I missed the short here, unfortunately. I did say in the live stream at Ola Prime yesterday that I would be trying to sell oil at $66. We actually got there yesterday, but I missed it because I was doing something else, perhaps focusing on Bitcoin or crypto. But there we go. Let's just turn this on. And we've broken down through that trend line. This black line here, this gray line, is the 100 period moving average. And this is the trend line that we've broken down and closed beneath. That was a bit of a violent move yesterday. And as I was saying, if you're a day trader, that could have been a little tricky to navigate because we made a new high and a new low on the same day. But nevertheless, we've been short the whole time, didn't change our positions or take any new trades on that. Next stop, I think, is the bottom of this order block at about $60. And then if we can break down there, through there, you can see that's a big zone, obviously. My previous blob was there too. If we can break down through that zone, I think we can get to 55 again. That's where we went long last time. The only time we've been long in the last couple of years. But we're not going to get long on this occasion. On that occasion, we were pretty close to the bottom of the channel line, which has actually been skewed off. It's not quite accurate. It's actually slightly closer than that because it's a different line I've got drawn in there. Nevertheless, that was the only occasion that we bought WTI, and we got out at the top there and sold. It was a little bit lucky, I have to say. And now we're long, and then we got out at the bottom, and then we hedged at the bottom there after dipping down, and we got out of the hedge, and we've been shorting the last two arrows on this chart, I think. These two arrows here are our last two shorts. These are previous trades which are now closed. So yeah, I think we could do that. Next stop, $60, then 55, then 50, I think, which should be close to the bottom of this channel. And then beyond that, who knows? I think we'll probably bounce up. And 50 might just be the sort of bottom. I've got a path drawn in here illustrating roughly what I think might happen. And we'll see how we go. But first up, $60, then 55, and then 50. That's my general plan for WTI oil. Now, we've got 6 minutes to go before the natural gas storage report, and we'll view that together live. And I've even got an economic calendar on my TradingView charts, which I can flash up here. Let's put it on. Okay, so we'll have a look at that when that comes out shortly. And then I think we've covered the NASDAQ. Maybe not. Wow, look at the S&P. So I can't remember if this was in the last live stream or I've talked about it already in the other stream. I don't know if I've covered it here today. Gets a little confusing. If you remember from yesterday's video and the live stream the previous day, we got long at the bottom here. We were long there. We got out at the top. We got long again. And I've now hedged the entire lot at the trend line and at the top there, awaiting the jobs report, which came out today to be pretty innocuous. So I had to hedge this because I wasn't sure what the report would be. I might now unhedge this and look for this to carry on moving up as soon as we finish this stream. For those of you in my private group and who are in this exact trade position, long at the green arrow and hedged at the orange arrow, you might consider unhedging that right now. In other words, taking profit on that short trade and leaving the long trade open. So we have a short trade on from the top. We have a long trade on from the bottom. They're both in profit. I would be taking, and I'll be considering that when we finish the stream, considering taking that short trade off for profit and taking that profit using the risk, having purchased the ability to take extra risks by taking profit on the shorts. I can use that money, that profit, to cover the risk of a long position, which I may add to the existing long position from the bottom here. So let me summarize. Long at the bottom, at the green arrow. Hedged at the top. In other words, I took a short position equal to the size of the long position at that point. That position is now in profit because the price has moved down. The profit on my long position has reduced as the price has moved down, but the overall profit is now locked in. Doesn't matter which way the price moves, my overall profit remains the same. There are overnight carry costs which have to be accounted for, but apart from that, this is a locked-in profit. About 570 points on the NASDAQ. So no matter what happens now, that's guaranteed profit. Unless I do something different, which might be, for example, what I've just described to you, that means taking the profit off from the short trade right now at this support level, which is the area I'll be looking at, and taking that profit off and using that to go long, using that extra capital to cover the risk of a new, fresh long position right now. So if you are in my private group, and I'm actually going to just, I have to type this up. I'm sorry, folks, because it's pretty important, and they need to know about it. So I'm just going to type up a quick note. It'll take me under 15 seconds, I imagine, if Slack will wake up. I think we're on go slow here because of, just give me 1 second. The joys of streaming and trading. All right, instruction has been sent. Whew. All right, we've taken profit on that short trade now. And as soon as the stream's finished, in about 5 minutes, because we're going to have to cut this one short, I've got trades to put on, I'll be adding a new long position at the current price, 6347.66. Taking profit on that trade from the top at 64 something, can't remember, 6347.66. Taken profit, added a new long position to that existing one. We haven't done the same on the NASDAQ because that hasn't moved down much. It has moved down a little bit. And the same situation here, that profit is locked in. Right, storage report in 2 minutes, folks. And then we're going to finish off the stream because I've got positions to adjust and to address in my private group. If you'd like to join my private group, we are next month, actually next week, the price is going up, folks. I just want to remind you of this quite a lot. We're going for a more exclusive, closed community with more focus on individual needs and requirements and more personal attention, much more of a community. Existing members won't have to pay anymore, don't worry about that. But if you're not in this community, it's going to be a lot more expensive from next week. So if you'd like to join, and there are discounts available, email me if you want a discount. Now's your last chance, maybe tomorrow, but your last chance to get in for, well under $100. It will be going to well over $100 next week. And in fact, there are discounts going out later on today and tomorrow. You could get in for maybe even less than like $70, something like that. So just wanted to make you aware of that while we're midstream. Just waiting for the natural gas storage report. 1 minute to go, and we'll do the countdown here. Now, I think on this economic calendar, a lot of questions, folks. I'll get to them if I can. I think we should be on stream all day long, really, shouldn't we? So anyway, let's see. $42 seconds. So previous was 48 billion. I have no view of expectations or any other further numbers, but what is that number there? Actual forecast prior. Actual forecast prior. All right, let's see. Where is it? Come to me. I don't like this one very much at all. Actual forecast. Forecast 15, prior 48. Here we go. 3 seconds, folks. What's the number look like? 7? 7? Is that possible? What's the price doing? Here we go, folks. Yeah, I think it's 7. 7 billion. Wow. Very bullish. And off we go. Absolutely brilliant. 7, could that be right? 7 billion? Wow. Unbelievable. Richard, Richard has asked, he sent an email asking about costs. Email me, Richard James at ArcisFX.com. Email me directly, Richard. If you're still here in the chat, I'll respond to you. Or you can email Emily at swingtradingblueprint.com. If we didn't see your email, we may have missed it for whatever reason. Emails often go missing in this world of many emails. All right, I'm going to go through some questions, folks. We'll come back to natural gas shortly. Good day, Andrew. Hello, Kogi. Again, congratulations to the winner, everyone. These streams just go so fast, I don't nearly have enough time to get through everything. Natural gas results strategy. I don't know what you mean by that, Pashwa. What's your natural gas results strategy? Don't know. Hi, James. Sir, good evening. Joy Deep, nice to see you. Peter Lee, gold, silver, and wheat are rocking. Yeah, sure they are. Cleopas, hello, nice to see you. Cleopas, Labumbe. Which country are you from, Cleopas? Not from my country, are you? Gigawatt. You need to press like, everyone. That is free, valuable information. That's the least you can do. Yeah, folks, please press the like button. I really appreciate that. I don't know how many people are watching, maybe 100 or 200, and I don't know how many likes there are either, but probably only about 20 or 30, maybe 10. So if you are watching, please show your appreciation by pressing the like button. I think there are only 8 likes. Is that possible? 30 likes. All right. 100 people watching, 30 likes. Doesn't make sense, does it? Come on. Please, folks. I do this out of pure love and compassion and care for everyone. And the least you could do is spend 1 second of your time pressing the like button. All right. Let's carry on. Sword-like wedges don't seem to be working very well. Sword-like wedges. Yeah, falling wedges. They do work pretty well, Carlos. Most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. GSA, second time with live natural gas. Oh, second time with live natural gas inventory. Let's have a look at these natural gas charts quickly again, folks. I'm going to go to a shorter term time frame, and let's look at the initial reaction. So there was the gas report. Initial reaction was actually a gap, believe it or not. So we probably have to fill that little gap in. This is a 15-minute chart, but and I don't trade off this chart at all. But we do have a little gap from the close of that candle to the opening of this one, and then the low still hasn't filled that gap. So we'll probably have to dip back down to 308 to pick up some of that stuff there, touch those moving averages, kiss it goodbye, and then get on our way. So don't be shocked and surprised by another 2, 3, 4 cent dip, and then a takeoff. But pretty good number if you're a natural gas trader and you're a natural gas bull. So good stuff. And as pointed out, this is actually the second time that we've been live together during the natural gas inventory report. So thank you for that. Richard, I promise I will reply to you if you email me. They do get lost sometimes. Bangers for crypto. Is there a head and shoulders on the 4-hour natural gas? Could be. I'm bullish on natural gas bangers. If you want to go short on natural gas, you're welcome to. But so far, everything points to up, including the inventory report. Emily Trading, thanks for your comment. Please also subscribe to the channel at ArcisFX if you haven't. Oh, yes, thank you very much, Emily. Folks, we are on the cusp of 12,000 subscribers right as we speak. Look at the number below this video. Help us to get to 12,000. Subscribe to the channel now while we're watching, while you're listening to me. Click the subscribe button. Please, I beg of you. I'm going to embarrass myself by begging just to get us to 12,000. It's not a meaningful thing, but it makes everything seem better when you see good numbers. That's human nature. So I'd like to see that number, and it will make me feel great, sort of leading up into the weekend, and it could be one of those crypto banger weekends. Abdul says, have you stopped covering platinum and palladium? Yes, I have stopped covering them. I'm not trading them at the moment. I will cover them when I'm trading them again. Steve N1 says, wowzers. I think that's about the natural gas report. And then Pashwa, I'm short on crude. Guide me. Short on crude. Guide me. We've covered crude already. We talk about platinum and palladium. Zambia. Cleopas. Thank you. Yeah, I thought so. Labumba. It's a southern African name, I thought. So, yeah, my neighbor. Welcome to you. It's really nice to see you. Zambia is a lovely country. One of the best. Roby. You always get my like. There is no love button. Thanks, Roby. I appreciate that, mate. So, folks, please get us to 12,000. And by the way, if you do that, and we'll be announcing this later on today or tomorrow, I think, or at least before the weekend. If you have subscribed to this channel, we are giving away a full year's membership to the ArcisFX private trading group, plus a free copy of my swing trading blueprint course. And we'll be giving away one of those every single month, but only to someone who's subscribed to this channel, and it will be done on a draw basis. And at the end of every month, we'll be giving away a whole year free membership to the ArcisFX private group, plus an entire copy of my swing trading blueprint video course, all the notes, all the videos, all the perks, everything that's included in there every month. But only if you're subscribed. And I'll be sending you more info out on that later on today. So make sure you're subscribed. That is the most important thing you can do to make yourself some money, because if you do that, you'll be part of a winning trading group and make some more money through your trading. So do that. If you want to make money, subscribe to the channel. And NATGAS has jumped. Let's go back to the NATGAS chart. Yeah. So 313, looking good. Okay, folks, have a great day. I think I've tried to cover everything, but I haven't done a great job because we just ran out of time and we've got some trades to put on. And my trade that I'll be putting on is long S&P right this minute. I'll see you soon. See you tomorrow probably. If I don't do a live stream, I'll do a video for you in the morning. And apart from that, I'll be on at Ola Prime Live, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, New York. See you there. Take care.